this is again, we will continue the lecture on training neural networks from last week. And so this is the last segment of this lecture. We have already covered what are the different components in the training process and what the training process actually looks like. So the last segment is we will just try to cover different variants of convolutional neural networks and the motivation why like those architecture were designed. And this is by no means like a very comprehensive list. This is some of the variants. And of course, there are like a lot of other variants out there. And I mean, these variants are being developed like very, very rapidly, right? So for example, these days we have transformers model and everyone is now like focusing just on transformers. So most of the recent neural networks you will see, even for images and videos, they are based on transformers. So in a way, you can say like the architectures which we are going to study, they are already outdated. The fact is like these were developed like few years back. And so you can see that like how fast, how rapid the field is moving. So things are changing very, very fast. Okay, so the first architecture we are going to discuss is residual network. And the idea here is we know how to construct a convolutional neural network, right? Or a neural network in general. And you know how that model is actually trained. So during training, you have two steps. The first is you take your sample, you do a forward pass. All right. So whatever weights you have, those weights will perform the transformations. They will take the input image, they will create activations. And as you move on deeper into the network, you will get like those sequential activations. And at the end, the model is going to give you predictions. Okay, so that's how it works. So that's a forward pass. Then the actual training process is the backward pass, which is done using backpropagation, which we studied in the last lecture. And backpropagation is depending upon the network's prediction, you compute some loss, you compute the gradients for each parameter in your network. And depending upon that gradient, you update the weights. So that's kind of, you are moving from the last layer of the network to the first layer. So that's the backward pass, and that's the actual training. All right. So now the issue is, if your networks are too deep, then what will happen is when you compute the derivative, you might have some loss value. Okay. So the some of the final layers, you can use that like a loss function, you compute the derivative. But since this is based on chain rule, and chain rule you have seen that's kind of multiplicative operation, right? So if your loss is very small and your derivative is also very small, then what will happen is if you keep using the chain rule and keep like computing the derivatives for your parameters, which are like, let's say, some of the initial layers of the network, then those values will be very small because of the chain rule, which is, as I said, it's multiplicative, right? If you multiply two small values, you will get smaller values. Okay, and again, depending upon if it's less than 1 or greater than 1. And those are the two different aspects of this. So the issue is, if your loss is or gradients are very small at the end, as you move to the initial part of the network, they will kind of diminish close to 0, and the initial layers will not be trained. Okay, so that's one extreme. The other extreme is if your loss is too high or your gradients are too high, for example, like values greater than 1. And in that case, like the final layers, you will get some gradient, you can update. But again, since the chain rule is multiplicative, if you try to compute gradients for the initial layers, due to the multiplicative nature, the magnitude of that gradient is going to explode, right? And as you reach like the initial layers, you will update like the weights with the very, very big numbers. And again, that's the other extreme. So we want something in between. Okay, so that's the issue with like deep networks, and one of the reasons why it's very hard to train, like when you have very, very deep networks. Okay, so that issue is called, you can say, vanishing gradient. As you move to the initial layers, your gradient is actually vanishing, or you can say gradient explosion. Now, to resolve that issue, this kind of residual connection was proposed, and whenever you use this kind of residual connection, we call this like usually for CNNs, this is called like a ResNet network. Okay, and there are a lot of variants, but the basic idea remains the same. you have a shortcut connection from one of the initial layers to the later part of your network. All right, so what's happening here? This is your data flow. It could be image or maybe some activations in your network. And let's say this is like some kind of CNN layer. You have the activation against some CNN layer activation. Now what you're doing is you're actually adding this skip connection. So this data is actually flowing through this path as well. And you're adding that value to this activation over here. So this is the exact function. If you define these two layers in form of a function, which is fx here, then the output after this layer will be fx plus x, because you're adding the activation which was generated after this layer to the value which was at this point of time. Okay, so this is called skip connection, and you can also call this like a residual connection, because you are flowing like your values. You're kind of shortcutting the connections here. Now let's try to understand why this is useful. Now, as we discussed, the issue was like your gradients were vanishing or they were exploding, right? Now, what will happen in this particular case if your gradients are always flowing in the backward direction, right? It's the back propagation. So whatever gradient you have at this point of time, then we covered this part. Whenever you have an addition operation, you just distribute that gradient, right? So the gradient will go in this direction, and the gradient will also go in this direction. So because of this shortcut connection, what's going to happen is whatever gradient you have at this point of time, it will be reached here, and this point will also receive gradient from this branch. So the gradient is actually coming from two different directions. Now, even if like the gradient is actually becoming very small here, but you still keep this gradient, which was not actually small, right? So this shortcut actually ensures the gradient value is not close to zero. It will have some magnitude. Okay, and then the issue of like vanishing gradient is actually resolved. So it doesn't matter like how deep your networks are. The skip connection will make sure you have gradients ready, like, or some meaningful gradients for the initial layers as well. So the question is like how to add these skip connections. And again, there are a lot of variations. You can actually have skip connection surrounding each layer as well, or some group of layers as well. Okay, so all those can be variations, but the motivation remains the same. Okay, so then this is, as we discussed, it's actually helping you in backpropagation. So whenever you will see like a model architecture which is based on ResNet, then you have these kind of residual connections in those architectures. So this is like one category of CNNs.